Here in Northern Ontario, in the Northwest, a dozen fires are burning, and Deer Lake First Nation is calling for a community evacuation, and Webequie First Nation issued a pre-evacuation notice to its members yesterday. Environment Canada has also issued a special air quality statement for almost the entire Northwest because of wildfire smoke. For more on the current situation, we've reached Ken McMullen, president of the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs and fire chief of Red Deer, Alberta. Hi.
Oh, good afternoon.
Thanks for joining me today. So what's the latest on these fires on the prairies as well as here in the Northwest?
Well, thanks so much, Jonathan, you and your listeners. At the moment, we're looking at about 164 active fires across Canada. Put that into perspective, 26 of those are new within the last 24 hours. As you'd mentioned, there are several fires burning predominantly in British Columbia, Alberta, and Manitoba. And that's not to say that there isn't fires in other communities, but there's fires that are more threatening of communities and populations versus some that are remaining within the treed forested areas. There is no province or territory at the moment that does not have some sort of fire activity, with the exception of Prince Edward Island. We're certainly seeing some volatile conditions across the country.
We're still in May, yet this it seems like a lot of fires. Is this surprising you?
You know, there are a lot of fires. Surprise, I'm not sure what term I choose to use at the moment. We have seen this. This was somewhat predictable. We have indicated and we have tried to educate that wildfire season in 25 was likely going to be similar as 23 and 24. We used to say they were unprecedented or unpredictable. That isn't reality anymore. We can't say that for the third year in a row that they were unpredictable or that they were unprecedented. Eventually that gets watered down. These are things that we likely saw were coming, and now we as a community are having to react to that, not as coordinated as we needed to be, but we'll certainly do our best.
What are you hearing from your colleagues across the country?
All of there are two different groups, and I just want to make that clear again to your listeners. There are wildland firefighters in this country that work for the provinces and territories that are trained and work within the treed forests. They do this every year, and they're very, very good at what they do. The Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs, we represent the municipal firefighters, the men and women that are trained for structural protection, motor vehicle collisions, all hazard type responses. What happens in these types of environments is when the fire leaves or threatens to come into a community that's populated with people and structures. That's the area geographically that we refer to as the wildland-urban interface, where we rely on our municipal firefighters to assist in those areas. And that's honestly where we start to run into our coordination efforts. Do we have the right equipment? Do we have the right training to work in those environments? More and more fire departments across Canada on the municipal side are getting more engaged with the wildland firefighting than we did in the past. And so that puts just more reliance on our communities to be prepared and respond.
As you mentioned, these massive fires are becoming more and more common every year. Over in Manitoba, the Prime Minister has offered federal support. The armed forces have been called in. What does Canada need to do to be better prepared for this, what's becoming regular?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of pieces to that, and I'll start by just saying at the highest level, the Canadian Fire Chiefs continue to advocate for the creation of a National Fire Administration, an office within federal government to help these conversations take place at the right time on a variety of topics. But as we're very front of mind at the moment talking about wildfire, that's key to our points on coordination and making sure that we've got the best available resources to support in these types of fires. There's G7 coming, and I regretfully tell you that Canada is the only country at G7 that doesn't have a position similar to a National Fire Administration assisting in those countries. There are many other examples, and we get to make the Canadian model work for us, but we just have to get it started. We're hearing from our chiefs, the municipal chiefs, that they're worried. There's a lot of work starting. We're seeing literally within the last few seconds more and more provinces and territories declaring states of local emergency. Saskatchewan just a few moments ago, Manitoba earlier today. That puts a lot of pressure on municipalities to be prepared. If they're not actively involved in firefighting, they're likely going to be involved in some sort of reception center and welcoming those leaving communities into their own.
Okay, so let's talk about individuals and families. How can we be better prepared, especially for being asked to evacuate during this fire season?
Well, certainly, and there's a lot of great things, and one area that we just start to point people in the direction of Fire Smart or the Fire Smart principles. Some great websites that help you with Fire Smart principles, but they're very easy. They're things that any of us can do to just look around our properties. Let's remove combustible material from our property. Now is a good time to clean up deadfall, brushes, dried leaves in and around your property. Those are just some of the high-level examples. But inside, what can we do personally? We can have a 72-hour kit. Make sure you include your pets. Have medication, clothing, identification prepared in the event that somebody says you've got 1 minute, 1 hour to evacuate. Now's the time to go home and have those conversations. We can't say that it won't happen to us because it's happening to thousands of people around us. Nobody's immune to this. We have to be prepared, and I'm asking all Canadians to do their part in ensuring their readiness for this year's wildfire season.
Anything else you'd like to tell me before I let you go, Ken?
As always, our thoughts and prayers are with everybody impacted, to the men and women that are very, very hard, actively working on these events, and, of course, to all those impacted by the evacuees. You're in our thoughts and prayers.
Ken McMullen, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining me today.
As always, thanks so much, Jonathan. Talk to you again soon.
Ken McMullen is president of the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs and the Fire Chief of Red Deer in Alberta.